Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone. My name is Tasi Khado. Welcome to this Facebook live session. And today we are going to talk about a beautiful, beautiful province of Pakistan, and that is Balochistan, which has 44% of the geographical footprint of the total country. Interesting, isn't it? And another interesting thing is that this is one province which is, as experts say, is full of minerals and gems and excellent fruit, fresh fruit and dried fruit. But this province also has been suffering with some challenges during the last 70 years. And one of the major challenges, friends, has been education. Yes. When we talk of education in Balochistan, more than 70% of children in Balochistan are out of school. That indeed is a scary figure. 70% children out of school. Something great has to be done or had to be done. So keeping all these things in mind and keeping the geographical terrain in mind, which is not very easy to operate in. It's really, really challenging because the terrain the distances are far. It's a very thinly populated area. It's not a dense population from one place to the other. It takes hours and hours to operate. So these were the challenges with which in 2016, friends, the Balochistan Basic Education Program was designed, conceived, and started implementation. The actual idea was to have it from 2016 to 2018, which means it is ending in January 2019. So what has this program done? Have there been any achievements? What were the challenges? What were the milestones that were achieved? What was the impact? How great was the footprint? To talk about all these things, we have arranged this live session for you. Please feel free to contact us, to ask us questions, and if you ask a question in the coming 45 minutes, your question will be taken on board by me to ask that question to our honorable guests. Speaking of guests, let me introduce our honorable guests to you today who are going to talk about Balochistan Basic Education Program and its achievements. We have in the studios His Excellency Mr. Jean-Francois Cotin, Ambassador of the European Union to Pakistan. Welcome, sir. We also have Chris Manduate, representative for UNICEF in Pakistan. Chris, welcome. Good afternoon. And our third honorable guest is Sadia Ainuddin. She is the Development Advisor for Education, European Union Delegation to Pakistan. Sadia, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, Excellency, maybe I should start from you. Talking of a Balochistan Basic Education Program, the technical implementer is UNICEF.
Yes.
And it's not for the first time that UNICEF was working in Balochistan. What were the major reasons that EU decided to fund this program?
I mean, one of the first reasons is obviously that the European Union, not only in Pakistan, but in many countries, we are focusing on supporting education. Mm-hmm. That is one of our key sectors for the European Union, because no need to explain why education is important for everybody's life. Then here in Pakistan, we have been working in 3 provinces, in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, in Sindh and in Balochistan, in different sectors. And a couple of years ago, when we thought about Balochistan and education, we said, okay, look, we have to do something there. We just, because people are asking time to time why we are focusing on Balochistan, Sindh, on KP, why not in Sindh, in Punjab.
Yeah.
It's just because, you know, it's a distribution of labor among the main development partners of Pakistan. We have some of our colleagues, for example, from the UK, who are very strong in education in Punjab. So, you know, there was no need to duplicate the work and duplicate the... Sure. So it's the best, you know, use of resources from development partners. Yeah. So, Balochistan, I mean, you said it, I mean, already, I mean, because obviously when we look at social indicators of this province, they are among the less good, I would say, or the worst of Pakistan. So there is something to do there, education especially. Why teaming up with UNICEF? It's just because we are European Union and UNICEF partners in many countries, in many programs. And we have been always very pleased to work with UNICEF, to take their expertise, their knowledge of the education sector, to help us, you know, in implementing good programs for the benefit of children in any country around the world. So it's a long experience we have had with UNICEF. And
long history of working
exactly.
together.
So it's why, you know, in Balochistan for us it was natural also to approach UNICEF to see how we can work together in this challenging sector that is education in Balochistan.
Right. Chris Mandavate, how has this funding or this this project helped UNICEF's work in Balochistan? It's not for the first time that UNICEF was working in Balochistan. I think it has been many years that you have your footprint there. Yes. How has this Balochistan Basic Education Program funding helped your mandate in Balochistan?
Yes, well, of course, as you said, we've worked for many years in Balochistan and with different modalities. But basically, it is not, I would say, easy to find partners like the EU that fully understand that you cannot help solve a problem if you just approach the visible part of the iceberg. So in this sense, of course, we have 70%, which means 7 children out of 10 between 5 and 17 years that are not going to school. And that's a huge, you know,
that's scary.
Gap.
Yeah.
That's a huge gap. But let us say the most visible approach could be, okay, so we go, we help build schools and we open the classrooms, which is okay. But there are other reasons and there are more underlying causes why the situation, this particular situation, does not rapidly improve, you know, in time. So with this in mind and based on discussions, that is how our partnership came out in 2016. Of course, it's not the first time that we as UNICEF work and receive support from the EU. But what I would say is that this particular program goes beyond what you can see in the problem, and as we discussed in the program, you will see how this goes into more underlying layers that can allow support the Balochistan provincial authorities and the education department setting very strong feet, very strong basis in the education system that would allow continuity, sustainability. Of course, when you go into the underlying causes, it gets more difficult, more challenging. Not everybody is happy, right? But I think we are in the right direction, approaching education, the support to the education sector, the way we are doing it.
All right. Talking about the right direction and talking about the achievements, we would like to share with you, friends, that one of the major achievements has been the Parent-Teacher School Management Committees, PTMCs. What is the idea and how has this been very successful? We have UNICEF and European Union together produced a short video, about 3 minutes, on this. Let's watch the video, and when we come back, we will talk to Sadia about this achievement and how innovative it has been and what impact it has created. Well, the impact you're going to see in the video as well, but let's watch the video and then we come back and talk again.
जॾहिं कोठी असें भाभी वारनि असां स्कूल ॾे ध्यानु ॾियणु शुरू कयो तॾहिं खां असां स्कूल सेट थी वियो आहे
असांजे इन कम खे ॾिसी ॿिया ॻोठनि वारा नियाणियूं बि अचनि था उहो बि चवनि था हाणे असांजा नियाणियूं हिते तालीम हासिलु कंदा
Well, you watched the video, friends, and something really interesting when it comes to this part of the program, Sadia, is that girl students have a say in suggesting what should be done, which sometimes I feel when I was a child, I was much more creative. And as I grow older, my creativity diminishes. So asking children about creative ideas, about innovation and innovation in education, I think it's a brilliant idea itself. So tell us more about the parent-teacher committees, and is this a conventional way all over the world, or in Balochistan was there any innovative tweaking to it?
Well, I think that this is definitely a very great concept, because it basically revolves around involving the parents, the children and the teachers for the development of schools and its improvement. And as you said, that now the girls also have a say in improving their schools and what they need in their schools. Like, we know that there are several schools which do not have basic facilities of wash.
Yeah.
There are no school
No
boundaries, no
girls.
toilets, no drinking water. And basic hygiene for girls is really important. So I think it's really good that now with the school management committee, the parents, the teachers and the students work together and give ideas to improve the schools. Through this program, only in Balochistan we have been able to upgrade 841 schools through these committees.
841, that's a huge number.
Yeah.
And also talking of the video, 68,000 plus views have already been done on the video, and I hear that this part of the program is also being respected and acclaimed by the experts all around the world, that the way it has been done.
Yeah.
Saying is easy, oh, parent-teacher committees, oh, let's take parents on board. But when it comes to doing, sometimes in places like Balochistan, it's sometimes difficult. So kudos to that. Another interesting aspect of the Balochistan Basic Education Program has been, Your Excellency, the play and learn technique. By the way, that play and learn is also part of our set today. That no punishment, play way of learning. Both of you, what is your view on that? How important is play for children?
I mean, I was lucky, I think it was 6 months ago or 8 months ago, to go on to visit the program itself. And I well remember that I visited a couple of schools, one in Quetta, another one in a nearby district of Quetta. And I was really amazed how I was not expecting that. I was not expecting what I saw there in terms of environment, how the school had been upgraded, not only physically, but also the way that the teachers were behaving with the kids. I mean, usually, I mean, you find, I know it's still the case in some schools here in Pakistan, where you have a teaching which is, you have the teacher on one side, the kids on the other side, and you know, it's very dogmatic, it's very... Yeah.
I'm the teacher, you are the student.
Exactly.
You know, that approach.
So, which was not the case at all in the schools I visited. So I think that was clear. I mean, we are talking about here attracting the kids to schools. I mean, it should be a pleasure for them to go to school.
Teachers were smiling, teachers were laughing.
It's a place where kids have they have to have, you know, this, they want to go there. Yeah. It's not a place, you know, that they're
scared of.
Exactly. So I think it's one of important elements of this program, I think, which has been so far very successful, yes.
Chris, on this?
Yes, well, you know, the best way to describe this is this time when I've been there several times, but this particular experience I had in one of the alternative learning centers. And all of a sudden came this very beautiful girl with her friends. And she said, you know, my life has changed, right? My life has changed, I feel happy, I know many things now that I didn't knew before. And I think this is the best way to express at the end of the day what we are aiming for in the program. I would say that one of the particularities of the program is that it has an holistic approach. So as you have rightly said, we have graduated in a way to say 841 schools with minimum standards for a school to operate. But on the other side, there is a capacity that's being created, led by the Balochistan provincial government and the education department, in terms of how to improve their system, and that's the system that covers the entire province. So when we are talking about supporting the technical aspect of an institute that will train teachers or is training teachers, that's not just the teachers of the 841 school, that's for all teachers, right? When we are talking about supporting and creating the capacity to assess the level of knowledge of children in the 5th grade and the 8th grade, of course it first applied in the 841 schools, and their learning achievements is raising, is improving, but we are talking that it will benefit the entire province. So whereas it's, you know, and we hope we can duplicate the number of schools, but we are also working in very important issues that will help the entire improvement of education for children in Balochistan. The other thing I want to highlight is the community and the district committees. This has multiple benefits. So on one side, it commits communities and parents towards education for their children, because at the end of the day, it's a general understanding of why it is important that my son, my daughter go to school. And this is not just about running the school, but also everybody is committing towards this. So at the end of the day, it turns to be also like a solidarity practice. So you have, my kids are going to school, but how can I help other children in other families know about the importance of education for their children and how they can go to school as well.
How was the experience with parents who are not educated themselves? sometimes I think parents who are not educated themselves are more open to such initiatives like committee. All right, I didn't go to school, but I want my son to go to school. So I don't know, Sadia, maybe you can tell us, have there been any examples of parent-teacher interaction where parents were not educated at all, but they want,
Yes,
they're contributing in the committees?
Definitely, because as you know, that literacy rate in Balochistan is quite low. So definitely there have been parents who were not educated, but through these committees and now they are definitely more in favor of their children's education.
All right, yes, well, I have some things in my mind to ask you guys, but since it's a Facebook Live and we are live on different platforms, so there are questions coming in. This is a question on Chopal, a page. What is the situation of ghost schools in Balochistan?
10%?
Excellent.
10%? Is that? 10%?
10,000.
Yeah, it's 1,500.
1,500.
Yes, and out of 15,000, I think, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So
Are
we're talking
ghost
about
schools.
roughly 10%.
So
yeah.
roughly about 10 to 12% schools
Yeah.
in Balochistan are ghost schools.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's maybe UNICEF, I mean, Chris, you want to talk about it? I mean, because as what is, it was said before, I mean, the easy part when you are looking at education program, you know, usually is to do infrastructures. You know, you build schools. For any development partner, it's easy. You build a school, you put your logo beside the logo of the government, and here everybody's happy. But that is, you know, it's the easiest, but it's not the most effective part of doing
Easiest,
proper
but not effective.
Indeed. So what is important in this program is that, as Chris was saying before, is that the goal is really to tackle the soft side, which is the most difficult one, because you are talking about the issue of human resources. You are talking about the teachers which are not attending schools. You are talking absenteeism. I mean, all these kind of issues. And Chris, I guess you want maybe to step in and to talk about EMIS, which I think it's an important element of the program.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most important parts of the program. I said not everybody is happy because of what you've just said. And this one of the, I mean, this system, this was very, very technical, but right now the education department can really do a follow-up on what is going on in each of the schools. And of course, this crosses different databases. For example, the database that has registered all the teachers that are employed by the education department.
Okay.
And then that you can make the contrast on where they say they are placed, and then you can really find out if they're there teaching. So it's what we found is there's not only an issue of ghost teachers and ghost schools. Yeah. Sometimes the schools really do not exist or existed at certain moments. So all these things have been helping the education authorities to improve the performance of what they are doing in education.
And I guess technology is being used.
Yes,
because
of course, technology is a very important.
The monitors also go there on motorbikes, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you know, today I had a conversation with a colleague in UNICEF, because we were talking about technology and technology applications, and sometimes this might not be well understood, but understanding technology from a positive side can really support the commitment and the efforts that the authorities are making, in this case, you know, Balochistan in education, to really monitor if the service is given, if education is being provided with quality, timely, and complying with the standards. Mm-hmm. And of course, yes, we use motorbikes, but Pakistan is a country of 200 million people, and there are many social services that are really being, provided, but you have to use technology to really monitor, because to reach everyone everywhere in a timely manner, it's not possible.
It's not humanly and not technologically possible, no matter how good our
So of course you rely on these tools, but the system has really been of support. It also helps the authorities in Balochistan to take decisions on how they distribute, for example, their budget, right? This district, well, maybe this district is X district receiving more funds, but we have in this other district more children out of school, more needs of teacher, more needs of equipment. So having all this information is really helping to distribute with an equity approach how to best invest
and allocate your resources.
The public resources in the province.
All right, friends, now I have a challenge here. There's so many questions coming in. So shorter answers. All right, it's Marzia from Islamabad. Is education really free in Balochistan? If so, till what level?
Well, education is free across Pakistan, it's not just Balochistan.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's the question, that it's the same law in Balochistan also, that it's free. All right. Medat from Islamabad, what does the concept of learning with play mean? Can you please explain learning with play? What is the concept? The concept is you only play and you don't get your hands spanking by the teacher, and with play you learn more. For instance, if you're learning counting, you're learning mathematics. So if you make it part of a game in the school, in the ground, in the playground, so the girls and boys maybe are able to learn more. How many are 15 plus 7? Oh, it's 22. Other than just pen and paper. I don't know, I've tried to be an expert here.
Yeah. It's enjoying.
It is enjoying. You enjoy your learning. So that is what is learning with play. All right. The next question is Nakib Khilji from Balochistan. It's a comment. And Nakib says, 80% basic facilities are not available in Balochistan schools. Ask them, is this true? 80%, I think that's quite a strong statement, right, Chris?
Yes, it is a strong. I would say it's a high percentage, but not 80%.
Not 80%.
That's part of what is being monitored, the quality of the classrooms, if the equipment is there, if the texts are there. So yes, it's been improving. I wouldn't say that the majority are well equipped. I think there is still a challenge.
And Balochistan Basic Education Program is a step towards that.
Exactly. So at least when we say 841 schools already reached the standards, they're full, right? Equipped. And then now the public budget is also being distributed, and to target those schools that are more left behind. So
right. All right. Now this one is a bit technical question. Aliya Farwa Rizvi from Islamabad asking, what is the process of bringing all schools to the education management website? How is it done? How are the schools brought on the website?
Well, I think it is a technical question, but I would think that probably the Education Management Information System, EMIS, must be playing a role in that, because they have the data of all the schools. So
they have the data, and
it's uploaded.
It's uploaded, and
by the way, it's a public.
It's a
public website.
That's a good info.
Everybody can have access to.
Everyone can have an access to that.
Yeah.
All right. This is done. Balochistan Basic Education Program talks about improving the accountability and transparency in education system, right? How is that going to be brought about? How is the transparency going to come?
Again, everything starts from a good information system. That is the first, you need a baseline where you know where your schools are, where your teachers are, and then you put in place a monitoring system. You have that. And then you have, I think, what is also important in the program is what we discussed before, these parent and teachers committees. Because then you have direct accountability to almost the beneficiary, not the kid, but at least the parents of the kids.
Yes.
And then, it's where you can have discussions between the teachers on the quality of education and the parents who will say, okay, look, it's good, it's not good, it's, So that is direct accountability. I would like to add maybe a specific reference also to another program we are supporting in Balochistan, in rural area, which is called the Balochistan Rural Support Program. It's a large program all across Balochistan, whereby actually we are supporting BRSP, so this organization, to organize communities not only for them to improve their livelihood and life, but also to make sure that they will become, a voice to demand better services. So it's also important because people are, by becoming empowered as citizens, will turn to the school, turn to the government officials in the education department to say, okay, look guys, we want to have quality education for our kids. So that is also for us part of the overall accountability.
Picture, overall
accountability.
Intervention.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for this info. All right, another question from Shahnawaz from Islamabad. What are some of the measures being taken to make sure that these schools are measuring up to the modern teaching strategies? I think it's a very good question. How do you measure that the schools are being upgraded?
This MES system is being fed by the monitoring, right? And the monitoring is either by people who goes around the schools or the same community committees or the parent committees. I was personally witness of a management meeting with the district and the union council directors of education, and the information they had, it was also based on what was provided by the system. So the conversation was, okay, when we have good performing schools, we can award the teachers with special recognition, with additional training, etc. Where we find that the teachers are not going to teach, or they're not there in the school time, or etc., then administrative measures need to be taken. So because we can have a system and the system can provide the information, but if actions are not taken, positive, encouraging actions, but also actions that goes and give a fair treatment. You have a contract, you have to comply with the contract. Yep. So in this case, the teachers have to teach. And I've been witness that this is working. Of course, it's not easy. It's a change. Yeah. It's a change on the way things are being done and managed. But
and humans are not comfortable for change, right?
Yes.
Whatever, even the weather changes, and we are saying, oh, it's cold now, So it's difficult to adapt to change.
Yeah, and that's why it's important, these kind of also positive actions in terms of recognition and rewards to those teachers. And there are hundreds of teachers who put not only their knowledge, but their heart, their commitment to really do a positive support in providing children an opportunity to learn and to develop.
All right. Now, talking of this huge number, which is 70% out of school children, I think the Balochistan Basic Education Program also catered, if I'm not wrong, to students, to children who missed the chance of having education for the first time. How did it work? I mean, were they enrolled later So we find older students in lower classes. How does it work?
Well, there's different reasons. You know, for example, if you're talking about number of children, maybe the primary school is the one who has a little bit higher enrollment, but once children reach 12 years,
13 years.
30, they start pulling out. So that you have a huge drop.
Bulk number is there,
yes.
dropouts.
But the other one, it's the beginning. Sometimes, as you rightly say, children start, let us say, a bit late according to the grade and their age. And that's how then they are at the lower grades, but they are older.
Yeah, they're older.
And that's another reason why sometimes they're taken out of school, right? Because children never drop out school. It's adults who, by any action, take them out of school. Either the system is not responding, either the family doesn't put it as a priority, but there's not one child that wants to drop out school. That's
or maybe the school is not attractive.
Yes, yes.
He's getting punishment in the school. The reasons are not the child itself.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
But this program has made the curriculum arrangements so children can learn, and in some districts is prioritized for girls, because that's where we have the list of girls attending school. So it's a 3-year program where you learn what should be learned in a 5-year program.
Ah, right.
That is, so it's an alternative, but also it's accelerated. So this will help, you know, close down as well the gap between grade and age.
All right. Okay. Another thing, that the examination system has been strengthened as well under this under this program. How important? Because usually when we talk of improving education system, we're talking about teachers training or ghost schools, but examination system, Your Excellency, is really important. How do you see this intervention?
I mean, it's the same. I mean, going back to your previous question on accountability, I mean, it's also linked to that for me. An examination system is something whereby you have to be sure that it is transparent and it is fair, and that the people, you know, will trust the system. So I think it's what we are trying to do with this program, because it's the only way also to build confidence into the system if you have a fair and transparent examination system.
The trust comes.
Yes, and that is key. So, you know, you don't get your degree, or you don't get your whatever certificate, or, you know, based on other considerations than, you know, really your values on what you have been doing.
Yeah. All right. What has been, I don't want to use the word ownership, but maybe I want to use the word ownership.
Yes.
How big is the ownership of Balochistan government on this program?
I think, I mean, it's probably the missing, you know, the missing person here. It's the government of Balochistan.
Yeah,
somebody from the education department, because obviously this program is not implemented in isolation.
Yes.
And we don't want, and I know it's also not the policy at all of UNICEF, we don't want, you know, to build a kind of parallel system to what the government of Balochistan is doing. So this program is more a kind of, if I would describe it, part of it is a kind of pilot project, pilot program which we hope that the government of Balochistan can also replicate and expand, you know, in other places. Okay. It has also elements which, as it was mentioned by Chris, which are much more common to the entire education system in Balochistan, such as the information management system that applies now across the board in Balochistan in the education system. So there are these different elements. But by all means, obviously, we are closely working, I mean, we are supporting the government of Balochistan, the education department, in improving the education system in Balochistan.
So
no way that no way, you know, to build something which is parallel and non-sustainable.
Of course, yeah.
So we really want, you know, to build within the education department, you know, this system.
Sadia, do you think when we talk of sustainability or replication in other districts, now Balochistan Basic Education Program is ending in January 2019. It is extended or not, that's a separate question. But when you talk of Balochistan government ownership, do you think as an expert will it be possible for the government to replicate, as Excellency is saying, in other districts, or it's going to be challenging?
Well, because it is based on the Balochistan Education Sector Plan, which is a plan of the government. So I think the ownership is there from the start.
Yeah.
But as far as building the capacity of the government to be able to enable them to replicate it, I think that's also something that we will have to work a bit more. Because of course if there would have been no issues, then we would not have been working in Balochistan. So sustainability is definitely related with how the government takes it over and how they replicate it. The next phase of the Balochistan Education Sector Plan is under the process of development right now.
Okay.
So I think once it is developed, and then its implementation will start, and then we will see how the government takes it over. But like systems like EMIS, the real-time school monitoring is still a new concept for the government. So to expect at this stage that the government will completely take it over is a bit unrealistic. I think there will be, for some time, there will have to be some hand-holding, but probably not doing everything for the government, but then, you know, bringing them together and building their capacity so that they can eventually take it over.
Chris, how do you think this Balochistan Basic Education Program will help Pakistan overall, generally as a country, to achieve the sustainable development goals?
Well, I think it's, you know, sometimes we have, again, this kind of huge jump between the policy commitments and then what is really being implemented and happening. And I think that one of the important things is how to continue building capacities and accountabilities in public administration. And at the end of the day, this is again one of the basis of this program. I think that this is something that won't be solved in 2 years. It will take some time. UNICEF goes on a 5-year cycle, and this year we begin our new country program. It's a 5-year agenda with very specific results. Of course, they are not UNICEF results alone. We contribute to this, and it's very clear what, in terms of each of the provinces, we are working. But I would say in Balochistan, of course, what we foresee is in the next 3-4 years, there should be a major positive advance in terms of education. And the important thing is that since the very beginning, the program has been led by the government. UNICEF is a technical partner. Of course, we do some direct implementation, for example, in terms of the schools, the access to water and sanitation, etc. But that's to build some examples of the standards that the schools should have. In terms of the country-wise, I think that, of course, the majority of the population, when we are talking about density, it's in Punjab and it's in Sindh. And there you also have, although the overall percentages are above, for example, Balochistan, the number of children are major in Punjab and in Sindh, and I think that they are also taking very serious steps to bring more children into school.
Right. All right. Excellency, you want to add something to the Sustainable Development Goals target and how this Balochistan education program is going to help?
I mean, Chris was saying, I mean, UNICEF works, you know, in all over the country, advising the different provincial governments. And I think what we are learning, when I say we, it's us, UNICEF, and the government of Balochistan, on how to improve the education system in Balochistan. I'm sure that there are some lessons learned that can be replicated, duplicated in other provinces. So I think, you know, it's also how this program is going to contribute to the overall, you know, improvement of quality education here in Pakistan.
Right. All right, friends, I have a challenge again. And that is that we have to wrap up and say thank you to our audiences in 3 minutes. But I have 3 questions.
Okay,
So, very quickly, Naqib Khilji, again, from Balochistan, says, what about professional development of teachers? Oh my God, that's a big question. But maybe, Chris, quickly, if you could add to professional development, the teachers training was also done.
As part of the program is the Institute of Teacher Learning. So this also has to do with the curricula and you know, with the permanent training that the teachers should have and the qualifications, so they're ready to do a better quality teaching with their children. Yes.
So again,
It's
teachers
there,
training
yes.
is not the only thing, but it's really,
Yes,
really
yes,
important,
yes.
professional
Yeah.
capacity and competency. Adnan Mushtaq Ali, thank you for your question. Well, your question is being answered multiple times during this conversation today. But just to share with you, he says, what actions have EU and UNICEF collectively taken to reduce instances of schools being inactive in future in Balochistan? And I think we have all been talking about this today. Asad Zaidi, the last question. Are UNICEF and EU doing anything to retain children in schools? And what about girls' education after primary level? I think the second part of the question is important. Girls, Sadi, would you like to quickly say something about after primary level girls' education? Is there any focus on that?
Yeah, the girls, the primary schools are being upgraded to middle level, so that first there has to be some facility to for girls' education, and then only girls can go there.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
3 of you.
Nice
It has.
program.
Yeah, the time flew by.
Yes,
I mean, I
yes.
thought we just started and the control room said, you have to say thank you and say goodbye. But congratulations, EU, UNICEF, and Government of Balochistan for this incredible achievement when it comes to elementary level education in Balochistan, not only Balochistan, in Pakistan, all over the world. I think education is one area, lots and lots of money, lots of efforts should be invested by the society, by the government, by the donors, by the implementing partners like UNICEF. So thank you very much, all 3 of you. Thank you, friends, for joining us on Facebook Live session today. Keep watching and keep sharing the video because this video not only will benefit the people of the parents in Pakistan, but also people outside Pakistan, because the kind of intervention that has been done can give ideas to other experts around the globe. So we are going to play the video for you once again right in the end. Bye-bye.
जॾहिं कोठी असां भाभी वारनि असां स्कूल ॾे ध्यानु ॾियणु शुरू कयो तॾहिं खां असां स्कूल सेट थी वियो आहे।
असांजे इन कम खे ॾिसी ॿिया ॻोठनि वारा नियाणियूं बि अचनि था, उहो बि चवनि था हाणे असांजा नियाणियूं हिते तालीम हासिलु कंदा।